Today's episode of Venture Capital is brought to you by Mozy Pro, protect your data, protect your business, and by Fenwick West.
My guest this week joins from New York City. He was part of the Techstars program there and launched Shelby TV. Tune in today to hear more.
There is no stopping an idea whose time has come. But the best entrepreneurs don't stand still with an idea. They get to the business of getting things done. So step forward with your idea, and when you're ready, sit down and tell me how you want to change the world. This week in Venture Capital.
Welcome to This Week in Venture Capital. I'm excited today. We have our guest from New York City. It's Reece Pacheco. Welcome.
What's going on?
And you are here from Shelby TV.
Yep.
Now, when you and I first met, yes, it's very good to always have that corporate branding.
That's right.
When you and I first met, you weren't from Shelby TV. You were from HomeField.
Right.
And talk a little bit about HomeField as a company. When did you start it? Why did you start it? And then we'll talk in a moment about how Shelby TV was born.
Sure. So HomeField was an idea that we had in college, actually. My co-founder, Dan, and I had played lacrosse together at Brown University. And after school, he went to work at Cisco. I went to work in a few different things and traveled a bit. And then in 2007, I ended up playing professional lacrosse. And I saw that nobody had done this yet. Nobody had taken this idea of...
Is there such thing as professional lacrosse?
There is. We don't get paid much. It's mostly just for free equipment and beer. But you know, you get to play against a high level of competition in front of a bunch of fans. So it was a lot of fun. But we basically saw that no one was doing this idea, which was basically taking this offline business of coaches exchanging game film, sharing it with their players, sharing it with their fans, and we wanted to bring that online. And so we ended up incorporating from my parents' basement, you know, really unsexy in November 2007, kind of started working on the idea, convinced Dan to quit Cisco full-time, brought on our other co-founder, Joe Uvoli, who was best friends with Dan growing up as kids, and then played lacrosse at Virginia and Syracuse, so really, really good athlete, good guy, super smart, tons of hustle. And so we started building that business and bootstrapped. And right thing to do, got into 2008, had the product built, started thinking about raising money, but it was 2008, so it was pretty tough. And we just bootstrapped for 3 years and built a software as a service business where people were actually, you know, paying to use the product. And it was a great, great experience.
And you had raised some amount of money, right, previously for HomeField?
For HomeField, we raised some friends and family, basically.
Okay.
And then as we finally got into 2010, and we had you know, paying customers. We were growing. We had a bigger vision around, you know, aggregating this media and how we wanted to be able to scale the business. So we started to raise a real round. And at that time, we also met Dave Tisch of Techstars, and so we kind of had this great sort of momentum play of we got momentum with Techstars, we got momentum with investors, and that all helped us close $225K from a small group of angels as we started Techstars.
Okay, you had it right at the start, but it was still the HomeField concept.
Yep.
Now, so the economic model that you imagined of HomeField, and HomeField still exists, right?
Yep.
Joe Uvoli's still running it.
Yep. We built Shelby during Techstars, but we had paying customers. We didn't want to abandon them, so he stepped up and said,
What's the economic model of HomeField? Talk through that.
Yeah, so, well, I'll talk to what it was then anyway, because Joe's definitely taken the business into a little bit of a new direction and opening it up an even bigger vision, if you will. So at the time, it's a software as a service business. The coach was paying for their team, bringing the athletes on. We provided a ton of utility to the coach directly. So they were paying for that service. But we were also aggregating all this content and getting the players, the fans, the coaches to tag that video, to essentially do the work for you around the video so you could use it to sell back eventually to athletes like me. You know, I'm 6 years out of school, what I wouldn't pay to have my highlights from when I played.
Right.
Or for the high school athlete who wants to use it to get recruiting. So we saw that long tail media model as being really, really powerful because sports are just so sticky.
Yeah. So part of it was kind of vanity reels, almost you could think of it as increasingly there's been businesses in static images of people who go out and they shoot like your kid's baseball team or whatever,
Right.
and people pay for that.
Right.
So part of it was vanity, like wouldn't it be great to have your high school video, reels of your diving team or you as the quarterback or whatever. And part of it was, if I remember correctly, also potentially a recruiting vehicle. So you have all these people who need to be able to discover talent on a distributed basis. I remember the book, The Blind Side, talked a lot about this, which is how recruiting really changed when you had video, because they could suddenly, they could only have so many people who could go out and scout for talent, and now they could get much more talent. The movie left that out, but that was part of it too, right?
Definitely. When I was in college, I graduated in 2005, and we used to scout other teams. Coaches, I remember UNC used to not trade film with other teams. They used to send a coach live. They would just fly a coach to go scout a team or to go recruit, and they just fly all over the country. It's just not really scalable. And nowadays they're doing it with film. And when we were building the business, we would go into coaches' offices and we would see stacks of DVDs, and they'd say, "Yeah, I got to go sift through all that stuff and one by one, DVD in, DVD out." We said, "Let's get it online. Let's make it faster to get."
And I loved that business, so we're going to talk about that in a moment. But Elon Abacera says he's watching, and he would like to know what watch you're wearing.
It's the Nike Sport Watch.
Okay.
I got it because I needed a watch to train for the New York Marathon.
Did you run the marathon?
I did run the marathon.
And what was your time?
3:39.
3:39. That's bloody good.
First marathon. It was amazing. I literally get chills talking about it. It was just this past Sunday. The crowd in Brooklyn is incredible. Just to have the opportunity to run through the city streets of New York like that.
Did you lose any toenails?
I didn't actually.
Okay.
I survived with no injuries. I'm happy with my time. I want to go out and just finish and do well. And I think next time I'll probably say, all right, now I want to get
crack
3:15,
yeah,
something like that, and train hard.
I did one marathon.
Yeah.
I did 3:57.
Okay.
Yeah.
Broke 4.
It's been a while. I did
Breaking 4 is good though.
I did it 9 years ago, and I was considering the possibility of doing it next year and getting back in shape as like a 10-year. But the older you get, you end up with knee problems. But
come on, Brad Feld's out there, cranking away. He does a marathon every other week.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. But I did crack 4, which I felt great about. Cool. I wanted to crack 3:45. That was my goal. And when I realized, I did the math while I was running, I hit a pretty big brick wall, around the wall, I guess, around 21, 22 miles.
Yeah.
And I just kept calculating in my head. I'm like, okay, mathematically, I don't think I can make 3:45. So all that mattered for me was get under 4.
Right.
Because I thought the difference between 3:52 or 3:53 or who cares?
Right.
No one's going to remember. They're just going to remember you cracked 4.
Are you under 4 or not?
So I just I paced myself to hit 4. So you went into Techstars. You were going to be HomeField. You were going to continue with this business. What was the epiphany that made you shift to Shelby?
Sure. So it seemed very much like we went from HomeField to Shelby overnight, and I don't think that was the case. When we started the business, we started with 3 things in our mind. We said, 1, we're probably going to fail, so let's just get over that now and just see what we can do. 2, we're going to learn a ton, so let's just make this happen. Let's go. Let's do this. And 3, let's always be open to changing what we're working on. And we wanted to build a company. As a team, we really wanted to do that. And so we always kept in mind, how could we do this for other things? And investors always asked us, could you do this for education? Could you do this for healthcare? Could you do it for a different vertical? Could you do it and apply your tech differently? So that was one place where we really just tried to be open. And over the course of the 2010, we just had all these little pain points around video that were, I want Instapaper for video. I want to know what my friends are watching. Discovery of video sucks. Community around video sucks. So it was these things that built up in our heads, and as we really were looking at Techstars, looking to raise our round, we finally said, let's pull all these together and be really open to changing. And when we got there, we came in with a new idea.
Who pushed you the hardest to pivot, if I could call it that, away from HomeField? Was it universal? I mean, other than me, the one person who thought you shouldn't do it, but was it universal?
No, not necessarily, because a lot of people were like, oh, you guys are the athletes, so you got to stay in your little space over there. And I think people were just supportive of us doing what we wanted to do. I think we pushed ourselves. We said, let's make this change, let's challenge ourselves. And I think, our mentors, guys like Fred Wilson and Jerry Colonna and Mike Duda, those guys were like, is this what you want to do? And we said, yep. And they said, all right, then do it. Then go do it. They weren't going to tell us no. So it was nice to have people bouncing that feedback off. But really, it was
Whose idea was it to pivot?
It was the team. It was definitely the team. We have this kind of concept of not ever saying it's one person's idea versus another. So when we brainstorm, we throw all the ideas in a room. And instead of it having it be Mark's idea versus Reece's idea,
let me tell you what the
it's Noel's
Techstars guys
idea.
told me.
Okay.
So we had private chats about it. Well, not so private. It was on film.
Right.
They just chose to make me Simon Cowell, particularly about Shelby. Actually, I said lots of good things.
Yeah.
I said some other things that I probably wouldn't have wanted to be on film, but I knew cameras were on. So
okay.
I guess that's the stupidity of it all. But they told me that you guys were pushed to switch. They said that a lot of people came in, and what everyone told you, this is what they told me, was that HomeField as a concept wasn't big enough, and that what you really needed to do was build something that was social, that could get large numbers, and that could grow. And my response was, I think, so that's the lead up to what I said, which is, my God, I think HomeField's unbelievably monetizable. I think there's huge value in what you're doing. That is never going to be Facebook. It's a different kind of business. But I think there's a huge business to be built there, meaningful, and something you guys were passionate about, which was athletics. And I feel like groupthink came in and said, you have to do social, which doesn't mean it won't work. I'm not saying that, but like I felt like people, because every investor I see these days, like, it has to be social, it has to be viral, it has to.
So there was a lot of, it wasn't people pushing us to go do some social thing over here. It was people saying, how do you take HomeField and make it a bigger opportunity? How do you go beyond what it is today? And that was something that I think we had gotten really attached to our revenue and what we were doing, and we were slow to make changes because of that. It's tough once you have a revenue stream to say, let's go do this different thing that's completely different, and we don't know if our users will like it or not. We're dealing with a very finicky group of users. Coaches are very, very finicky. They have very specific needs in terms of technology. They're dealing with IE6. I mean, they're on old systems. It was just a tough place to make change. And so I think we were open to the idea of going after this bigger thing, and people just said, hey, do something bigger, not necessarily just social. It could be sports, whatever it is, but don't be afraid to go after something. And so that's where we just said, yeah, let's do it. Let's go for it.
So what is Shelby TV trying to do? What do you stand for? Why do you think it's a big idea?
Sure. So we say Shelby TV is the most amazing way to discover and enjoy web video, right? And we're trying to take this massive content. You're seeing tons and tons of content being created or just being brought online and shared across, Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr and IM and email all over the place. We're trying to just simplify that and give you a really nice seamless experience and a better way to watch it. We don't necessarily want you to watch more video, we want you to watch the best video, the stuff that's right for you.
Why don't you want them to watch more video?
I don't necessarily want to create a nation of people are already watching 5 hours of TV a day, right? The average
5.3 hours.
5.3 hours a day, right? I don't necessarily want to make that 6. I want to make that 3 really good hours maybe, Through Shelby, I want to bring them the best video. I literally, through the people I follow on Shelby, because it's all about that human element, I find awesome, inspiring video. It's not the same old crap that just comes on TV. It's this really amazing TED Talk. It's a video to support someone's
So does that mean, like,
campaign for
if you're talking about, hey, this is a place where I can go get TED Talks and I can get stuff that ordinarily, like, how would I know it was out there? So to some extent, is it long tail? Do you think Shelby lends itself well to discovering long tail catalog type content?
It's interesting to see what cycles through our system. A video will come in and some of my friends will share it and it'll get very popular among 5 or 10 friends and then it'll go away. And then a month later, someone discovers it and shares it again. I actually, yesterday we were talking about, you shared that video of the basketball player, right? And that video is a couple years old.
Which I had seen it before, but it's every time you watch it, it's so inspirational.
Right, it's amazing. And I think there's something to that. People want to watch stuff again. That's why people buy movies, to watch it again and again. Yeah. So I think that there is something there. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
So Stephen Medawar, at Stephen Medawar, has asked on Twitter, What is the key to a viral video in your mind?
I mean, everybody wants to figure out how they can just make a video viral. They want to figure out like, what's the formula? I don't think there's a formula, but I think there are some aspects that, lend themselves to being viral. One, short. Two, hook the user in the first couple seconds. A great title doesn't hurt. Animals seem to play well. People falling down anytime someone gets hurt. Any stuff like that, right? Some element of mystery.
Yeah. So I guess it's almost America's funniest video type stuff.
Yeah.
Sean Michael MC, which is actually Sean McCarthy, but his Twitter handle is Sean Michael MC, says, what makes Shelby.tv stand out and what makes it different from what YouTube and Google will be doing?
I mean, I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but you have to imagine that they're going to continue to play in this space. I think that we can innovate faster and we can be a better social product. Google and YouTube are amazing. I don't think they've really nailed social. I really want to bring you the stuff that's relevant from the people around you. And I think there are some limitations to what YouTube is and how they play across other networks that will allow us to play in that gray area where they can't.
So you described, I wrote it down when you said it, you said something broader, but I just wrote down the following words. It's to discover and enjoy online video.
Right.
So let's talk about discovery. How are you going to help me discover better content or different content? What are you doing?
Sure. So, the first thing is just exposing you to the video in line, right? Playing the video back right away. I think a lot of people are in text mode all day long, right? And they're on email and they're on IM and Twitter and stuff, and that's fine. You have to click a link to go through to see a video. And I think that people don't realize how many links are videos in their Twitter feed. How many links are coming through there are actually videos in their Facebook feed. And once you just bring them into that instant on experience, they start to say, oh, cool, hey, look at all this content here. And they go, wow. We have a lot of users who on the first time go, wow, I never knew there was this much video on my Twitter feed. Never knew, never clicked through. Right, because you're in text mode all day, you're just kind of grinding. But when you sit down and you want to watch video, you create that time for video. You go, okay, cool, and you want to watch. So I think that just by putting them in that experience, you start to see new stuff. Right. From there, it's about bringing up the relevant stuff, the stuff that's trending among your friends, right? How can we find the video? I have one on my screen here. David from SoundCloud tweeted it out, but then 3 more of my friends all said, hey, check out this video. So that's important, and that's social capital that I want to have so that I can talk about it.
Do you have certain algorithms that help the good stuff rise to the top, or it's just the number of my friends who tweeted it?
Right now, we're starting with that, and then working on collaborative filtering and a few other ways that we can bring the good stuff up.
Okay, so people like this video also like this video. Yep. And so if I tend to, maybe over time, I don't want to put ideas in your mind, but over time, if I tend to click more on sports videos, right, maybe you surface more sports videos right, than other things. Or
I mean, we'll bury all the videos of the Eagles just forever, yeah, but yeah.
Are you a Giants fan?
No.
No, okay, good.
Patriots.
Patriots, one of only 2 teams to beat us in the Super Bowl. Websterisk, which is Josh Webb from Launchpad, said, do you think that a key value out of Shelby is turning traditional lean forward content into lean back?
I think so. I think part of our discussion yesterday when we were all, kind of going around was, it's about, you have to go find stuff.
Just to explain, because most people probably don't know what yesterday is.
I didn't know if I should say.
We had an event called The Future of Television. I invited Reece to do a demo there. We had people like Michael Eisner was there. We had people from YouTube, Hulu, Warner Brothers, Fox, Twitter, NFL. It was a great gathering of people in Los Angeles to talk about where television's going, and Reece did a demo for all of us. So
it was cool. Great event. Again, thank you.
Happy to.
But as we talked about yesterday, I think that finding video is very lean forward right now. Whether you go to YouTube and you have to decide what to watch, you have that paradox of choice.
But let's split the world up, okay? Like traditional TV's lean back.
Yep.
And the internet's lean forward. And so do you believe that maybe one of the things you can do is help shorter form video that I typically watch in a lean forward mode the metaphor of lean forward or lean back is active versus passive, right? Like lean back, I just want to be entertained, entertain me. Yet on the internet, you've got to click around and find shit, right? So is that part of it? Like, hey, I can just turn Shelby on, what's on Shelby, and be entertained. Do you want to show us some product?
This device in particular? Yeah, sure. I mean, this device in particular is just amazing for that, right? You just, I guess we'll go on the iPad. Let me see if we can flip around here. I'll go around. So, the beauty of this thing is, as soon as I get into the app, as soon as I open the app, we actually are instant on, so we're playing video. This one is Kermit and Miss Piggy. It's actually a pretty cool video. The Muppets are great.
Can you make sure?
Yeah, are we plugged in there? Yeah. Are we getting that? So, this video is playing back instantly, and if this video finished, it goes straight into the next video.
Hey guys, can you pull up his screen? Is that showing? We might have, oh, there we go.
Cool. So, this video is playing here. We can get out of the way, let the user enjoy the video, right? We want to lead with that.
Right.
But when this video finishes, I mean, I guess it's kind of a longer one, but say I drag, towards the end here. As soon as it finished, it would roll into the next video. And you're creating a seamless experience out of shorter form pieces. And so right away, you can just sit.
So you're stitching together in a way a series of potentially disparate video, but over time, as you get more clever, I might have related video, right? So I might want to watch a newsreel, and then I might show 5 newsreels, or I might be interested in stories about Pakistan and serve up 5 stories about Pakistan.
Right. But again, we always we love that human element. I mean, right here you're seeing, this is that video I talked about from David, and here are all the people on my Twitter feed who are sharing this. I mean, these are people who are good friends of mine, and you got Tim Shea, you got my friend Anna, you've got Adam from Igniter. These are important people to me. So it's like, okay, cool. I'm going to watch this video.
Right.
That's how that's relevant to me.
So you see alongside the video why that video is in your stream.
Right. Alongside, or if you just tap.
Now, from right there, show me, what can I push out? Can I push stuff from here either out to my Twitter stream, or can I push it to my on Shelby screen or my Shelby.tv screen?
So it's a simple tap of the share button here. This is, I can post to Twitter and Facebook. On the web product, you can actually also post to Tumblr as well.
Okay.
And then you can also email that out, right? And email is just such a powerful indicator. If you get an email with a link in it, then you go, okay, wow, I got to watch this, right? So very simple. And what we do is we give a shell.tv short link.
Okay.
So if say you're a user and you see that link and you hit it, and whether you're a Shelby user or not, you're going to see that video. We always want to lead with the video. Always let the user see the video first. That's a really important thing for us. And then over time, we also, we have a like button here. Very simple. So if I like this video, it would then show up in my, favorites, which can in theory become a channel of video where I'm saying, hey, here's all the stuff that Reece likes. Come check out my channel.
Okay, so you imagine that maybe in a way it can become like Video Delicious, which is I could create lists of my favorite stuff that I could either go back and watch, or someone else. Like often, you want people to watch the video you like. If you have your favorite 5 TED Talks, wouldn't it be nice if I could say these are my favorite TED Talks? Like I could, in a way, through Shelby, I guess, start to curate for other people.
Absolutely. I mean, you do a great job of it with your blog, kind of highlighting certain series of your blog posts, right?
Yeah.
Stuff that you say, okay, this is the best of the best that I want people to be able to find.
Right.
Same way, there's certain videos that I just feel passionately about, and I want to share that stuff out there. And then other ways to bring video into the system just while we're on product. We also have a bookmarklet. So from the web, you can add the bookmarklet and then save videos to watch later. So, this was one that came through, and I didn't have time to watch it at the time, so I just clicked the bookmarklet, and then it puts it in the watch later queue, which is a great way to time shift content. And that's a big part of what we're doing too. We want a user to be able to get access to this video anywhere, right? Whether it's on their laptop, on iOS, eventually back on connected TV. So we're actually, you can get Shelby through the Boxy browser, through the Google TV browser, but we're building out for Android, so we'll be on Google TV natively soon.
Chad Chunglo, at Chad Chunglo, would like to know how far back in terms of days, months, week, etc., in someone's Twitter feed will Shelby pull videos?
So we can only go back, Twitter limits it to I think 3,200 tweets. So it's not too far. It can't give you days, weeks, months. It's dependent upon how many tweets have come through.
Omar, no, actually the name is Oscar Moreno, but the Twitter handle is at OMOR, would like to know, how does Shelby TV plan to make money?
So, we're looking at trying to understand a user's, essentially their viewing profile, the stuff that they love, right? And understand what the best content is to deliver to them. You know, the natural thing that people would say with Shelby is throw advertising on it, but we don't like traditional advertising really. And what I love and what we're seeing now is there are a lot of brands that are shifting their marketing dollars to creating content. Everyone's becoming a publisher. You're a publisher now at this point. So how can they get their relevant content to the right audience? And so can we help them find the right influencers to promote the content early on? Can we help them just deliver it to the right viewers? Can we help them drive acceleration around a video?
Why don't you like traditional advertising? Are you a tech snob?
I just don't, a lot of it doesn't work. You know,
How do you know
for
that?
me, I ignore so much
You're
of it.
6 years out of school. What do you know? How do you know it doesn't work? I mean, for fuck's sake, it's a $300 billion a year industry.
Sure.
Do you think $300 billion and 100 years of advertising is just wrong?
So I bought the Nike watch, right?
Okay.
Why did I buy the Nike watch?
Because they market the hell out of the brand name Nike, and you feel like when you wear that, you're cool.
But true. I don't
because
feel cool.
you're paying of the cost of what it costs them. I'm willing to bet you 80% of the margin of that item is the brand value Nike.
And how much of what Nike does is creating content versus ads, though? Like I argue that, you know, they put out a piece recently. It's Ellie Goulding. She's, you know, a musician. It's her doing Nike content, right? Like doing a video of her running. They put out a video recently of monks running in Nike gear through the woods. Like that stuff is engaging with me, and I believe and like that stuff.
So all
you
you're
know?
saying to me is you believe they produce higher quality, more compelling content in which the message, they get them out of the way of the message, and almost the medium, the runner itself wearing the item, becomes the brand.
I think they do a great job of it. You know, you look at...
It's still an advertisement.
Yeah, sure.
You're just arguing is there high quality or low quality advertisement?
I guess so, in that sense. You look at Old Spice, right? What they did with the Old Spice Guy campaign. It's not about the deodorant. It's about being funny and saying, hey, this is who we're marketing to.
But that's to a certain segment. I mean, let's talk about Apple versus Mac. Apple versus, Mac versus PC.
Sure.
You remember that ad campaign. Everyone remembers that ad campaign. But that's a traditional ad.
True.
Pretty effective, though.
True. I just, you know, I like the way advertising's going. Then I guess, you know, maybe, you know, you're turning me on the way I'm phrasing things, but I like what I'm seeing there. And then, you know, if you want to keep going on the monetization thing, I think there's a ton of data we're collecting. I think there's a number of ways we can do a bunch of other stuff.
Don't get me started on that, because I'm just going to rip you apart. But
again,
but, yeah.
how many times are you going to tear me down on TV?
No, you know, privately, I wrote to the Techstars guys and I said, please don't take Reece Pacheco, because I want him to move to LA and do Launchpad, and I want to work with him. And I was half joking.
Reverse psychology works.
Yeah. No, I've been a very big fan of yours, and I'm a very big fan of the space you're playing in. And maybe it's testament to how much I like your original business that I was less enthusiastic about a pivot. But as I said to you at the time, I can't wait to be proven wrong, because I'm rooting for your success. But talking about advertising, one of the more effective types of advertising is called brand integration.
Sure.
And brand integration used to be called product placement, but product placement sounds bad, so it's brand integration. And an example of it might be like if you and I had a show and we were talking on video and we started talking about Mozy, like an online backup tool. Do you use any online backup tools?
I actually do.
You do?
Yeah.
Which one do you use?
I use Mozy.
You use Mozy?
No joke.
That's great.
Yeah, it's what's great
Why
about...
do you use it? Why did you start using Mozy?
Well, word of mouth.
Yeah.
First, I mean, that was the first reason why I was, my co-founder Dan actually used Mozy, and he's like, yeah, it's a pain the first time you do it, because you got to wait forever for everything to back up, because you got 80 gigs on your machine, but right after, once it's done, it's like, you never think about it again.
And it just does the delta?
Yeah, in the background, it's just updating, and I don't think about it, and I know that all my data is safe, so I just kind of don't worry about it, and that's the thing, like, make it easy for me to sign up.
Was there certain data that you were concerned about not losing, or?
Concerned about not losing?
Yeah, like what? Like is it you don't want to lose your photos or your work documents or your?
Yeah, it was documents, videos, and photos for the most part. Music too, actually. It was just this stuff's important to me, and as much as I'm safe with my devices, I can have a hard drive, but I've had hard drives crash. I had a Lacey external hard drive crash on me.
Yeah. Lost
all the video that I had.
That's why Lacey's not an advertiser in the show.
I mean, smart.
I mean, the key to integrated advertising is authenticity, and I always say that. Like, you can't have Charles Barkley go on and talk about tampons or something like that. It just, I don't know why I chose the most random thing I could think of. You couldn't have, I don't know, a big athlete come on and try to do an ad for Kentucky Fried Chicken, let's say.
But I mean, come on, Jordan and Bird did all those McDonald's commercials back in the day.
That's why I didn't say McDonald's. Like, McDonald's is such a pervasive brand. I guess you think of fried chicken, you kind of think, you don't think athlete, but
yeah, but there's a lot of there's a lot of calories there.
That's true.
If you're trying to get big and play football or something, you're gonna.
So Kentucky Fried Chicken might be a great advertiser for this show. I think they've got the money to spend.
Athletes you have coming on.
So let's talk more about social viewing. Some amount of social viewing platforms are trying to get people tweeting each other while they're watching shows. Do you guys do that at all?
I mean, we kind of believe that your social network exists where it exists already, Facebook and Twitter, and I love seeing the conversation around videos. Like I showed in the product, we kind of are deduplicating that, and it's showing a bit of conversation. I think, it's tough to sync that stuff up. I think that time shifting and the asynchronous experience is really powerful. I mean, that's why DVR penetration is so huge. People want to watch it on their own schedule. Around football, you're always going to see people tweeting on Sunday. Live events, they're going to tweet. That's the conversation, and it's a great way to do it. We're not trying to make users sync up. We believe in the asynchronous experience, but I think there's a lot there. I think like what Brian's doing with Chill, I think is really compelling.
How do you build a brand because basically Shelby's a destination, right?
Yeah.
How do you get people to know your brand and think Shelby's the place? Like, they have to think to themselves, I want to go watch a bunch of video.
Right.
And normally when you think that, you might think I'm either going to the big screen TV in my house or I'm going to YouTube. Like,
right.
How are you going to become that destination?
I think, there's product utility that we start with, and then it's building a voice and thinking about that brand and what that brand is. I think Shelby, Shelby to us is a person, and Shelby, that's why it's a human name. That's why it's a hand-drawn logo. Shelby is very much a person. Shelby tweets at people and has its own personality, and she's crazy, but right. She creates a dialogue with the users and really listens to them. So we really believe in that. I think there's a lot of great products that have done that. You look at Tumblr. Tumblr has a lot of personality. Foursquare has a ton of personality. Facebook Places didn't.
Right.
For me, it just doesn't. Facebook doesn't have a lot of personality. I don't think it's very cold, very structured. Foursquare builds a lot of that baked right into the product, and that makes me sticky and go back to it. From there, it's also just about being simple and being available everywhere, right? As a user, I don't want to think, I can only get this product on this device or whatever it is. So we want to be, heavy on web, available via any, web product. iOS, Android, we want to be available back on the connected TV. Let a user just say, I just know that I turn on Shelby and watch video. So that's the way we approach it.
Are there any licensing issues for you if someone tweets something from the Colbert Report, Stephen Colbert? I mean, can you show it on Shelby, or do you need the rights from Viacom?
So luckily, we work with Hulu. We actually pull Hulu content. Mm-hmm. We worked with them to get them integrated. We pull right now video from YouTube.
But legally, you have an agreement with Hulu, or?
Yeah, we're all set. We follow their terms of service to basically distribute their content.
Okay.
We follow their rules. We're too little right now to piss off any of the big guys.
Right.
As we create our own value and build a bigger system, then that's when maybe we'll start poking and breaking some rules.
Right.
At least breaking rules that people know about right now. But we pull from Hulu, College Humor. We're working on stuff with Kaltura, so we'll get all the different content that they support, PBS. So we're really excited about pulling in all these different video players, because I think it's great that some of these publishers have their own video players and can control their video the way they want. YouTube is a beast, right? It's just so dominant, and it's great. I love what it's doing, but it's also a little bit scary to just have everything on the one player. So we're trying to integrate with everybody.
So ultimately, you want to be the destination. You want people to watch it on Shelby. Do you think that the kind of social behaviors are going to be on a second screen, or are they going to be on the primary screen? If I'm watching on my living room, my Samsung screen, do I want to start tweeting and stuff from that screen, or am I always going to have something in my lap? What do you think?
I think the second screen is here to stay, probably. You know, I tend to, if I am watching TV, I'm watching with my phone nearby or my iPad nearby, or it's there. And I think that just as far as input goes, it's nicer to have a keyboard that you're familiar with versus a lot of these remotes that you're flipping over and typing on. They just feel a little bit wonky. I like what Google TV is doing by literally just having it be a keyboard, because you might as well, if you're going to type, have a real keyboard versus some other devices where it's a remote that you flip and type. It's not as smooth. It's going to be really interesting to see what Apple does. I know everyone's kind of saying they're going to put a TV out there. I don't know if it's going to be a TV or just a screen and they're going to rev processing power through the device, but I think you'll see, I think you will. I think you'll see a screen, and then you'll see a lot of users, you're kind of directing it through your phone or your iPad.
Do you think that what you are, I'm trying to get my mental map around what you are. Do you think, are you Flipboard for video?
A lot of people say that. The comps that we get a lot are Flipboard for video or a Pandora for video. Okay. And if I were to say that we're Pandora for video, I would say it's a social Pandora for video. I think there's a lot of potential for us to understand video and users to the point that we can display content to them that's relevant and understand video that well. But I don't ever want to lose the social angle, because I think that you always need people seeding new grains of sand into the oyster and saying, hey, check out this cool new thing. I think Pandora is a great product, but sometimes gets a little stale because it's too beholden to their own algorithms.
Do you think there's a potential competitive threat from Flipboard if they, because right now they're kind of really focused on, let's say, magazine style images and text, but I mean, isn't video a logical extension for them?
Sure. Video is a logical place for a lot of people right now because it's changing so much, and it's a huge space and a great industry. And I think video is a core behavior that's not going anywhere, right? There's certain core behaviors users do that they're never going to change. Competition's interesting on the one hand. The athlete in me says, bring it on. It's like, all right, let's go. Sure, we can take you. We'll move faster and better. But if you're worried about your competition, then you shouldn't be in the entrepreneurship game anyway. We believe in what we're doing, we believe in our vision, we believe in our ability to execute. So if they want to jump into the video game, they're probably going to have their vision around it, and it's probably going to be pretty different around what we think we can be.
You said it's a place to discover and enjoy online video. Discovery, I get. It's the big question everyone has about video is how you discover it, because with text, it was always search.
Right.
Well, it wasn't always search. We started from a taxonomy, right? Like people may forget, originally it was Yahoo was this hierarchical structure of all the links and how you find stuff. Google changed that by becoming search. And video search has been a really difficult nut to crack. You had people like Blinks, BLINKX, I think it was.
I don't know how to spell any startup names anymore.
Yeah. But it didn't really work, and video search in general hasn't worked, and it doesn't lend itself well unless you use something like speaker text, which is starting to do like transcripts of video. And then I always say, if you go to YouTube and you type Dora the Explorer, those of you with kids probably have done this. What you get back is rap videos of Dora the Explorer. You're connected. Can people see my screen? I want to do this real time. I want to see, because I never do anything real time. I'm not as cool as Cal Canis. Okay. Can you show my screen or no? So I'm going to go to YouTube, and I wonder if I'll be proven wrong. Let's try this out. So I'm going to try Dora the Explorer, and let's see what I get. I'm going to click.
Looks like Dora the Explorer.
So Baba Black Sheep, nursery rhymes for children. So let's try that. This is a promoted video, so that doesn't really count.
Okay.
So let's try this one over here, right? Oh no, that's also a featured one.
Yeah.
I'm going to try the top organic.
Well, that's the channel, right?
Oh, that's the uploader. Okay, so that's actually good.
Okay.
They're getting better at this. So I'll click on the second one, And do we have sound on
Crank
it?
that. Crank that.
Hey, I got this new dance for y'all called the Soldier Boy. You gotta punch, then crank back 3 times from left.
Doors. Is this? Is it that all VCs want to be in a rap video? Because Foundry Group did one.
Yeah, they
is
did.
that?
Oh no, that didn't turn off. Okay, I'm gonna have to find where this is.
We're on a little loop here.
I think I'm gonna have to jump out of this. Okay, I got it. I killed it. Yeah, no,
So great example. Great point.
So
How do you deal with that?
Clicker, which was bought by CBS, Jim Lanzone. It was originally an LA company called Modern Feed. Mm-hmm. And what Clicker did a wonderful job of is integrating curation with search.
Sure.
So in Clicker, when you type Dora the Explorer, it knows, because it has a taxonomy, the general things people are searching for.
Right.
And what they will do is they will show you, would you like free episodes? Would you like a paid from Nickelodeon?
Right.
And here are the 12 places that you can get Dora the Explorer, and you can click and it takes you there. And I guess they were generally getting paid a kind of lead gen fee for being the jumping off point for that. And it was, as a person wanting to discover video, such a better experience than YouTube itself, unless you're looking for those rap videos. So I get how your discovery, because I can go into Shelby.
We're live on Chill.
We're live on Chill.
Talking about Shelby. On This Week in VC.
On This Week in VC. It's
So
very
meta.
Very meta. No, but so on Shelby, do you imagine having channels so that I could discover that way? Because right now, the times that I've been on it, and I have been on it, you scroll down kind of the right-hand side, and it shows you what your friends are sharing via Twitter links. Where are you going to go from there to improve discovery?
Sure. So I think one of the things that we run into as a product is that occasionally you have a user who gets in there and says, I don't have a lot. Maybe they're not a power Facebook user, they're not a Twitter user. It's what's there for the non-logged in user.
Or maybe my friends don't share good videos.
It's possible. So we'll have to figure that out. I think that curating content is something that a lot of people don't want to do because they go, oh my God, now we're gonna have to curate content forever. But I think there's a lot of power to that. I think there's, we talked about it yesterday at the Launchpad event, like content is really powerful. Having a great story, you want to watch that story no matter what. And I love the line that Eric Schmidt said at the TV conference that he spoke at in the UK a while back. He said, if content is king, then context is its crown. And that's great for me, right? So our whole thing is, how do we bring you more content but make sure it's relevant somehow? And I think the key to that is messaging the user, explaining that this is why we're showing you this video. So maybe we don't have a lot from your friends, but you've watched this other stuff. This is why we're showing you this.
It's kind of like Netflix. When you go to Netflix and it shows the films it's going to recommend to you, it says, we're recommending this film because you liked these other videos.
Right. I just, I always look at what Foursquare does with Explore. I think Foursquare does a tremendous job with Explore, where, say I'm in LA and a lot of my friends haven't been here, but it'll say, these other Foursquare users like this venue, which I think is really a strong indicator. It shows you the people.
So George Lucas Bowen,
George Lucas is asking me a question. That's amazing.
I'm
in LA, I guess.
A different George Lucas. So it's George L. Bowen, or Bowen, I apologize if I said that wrong, is his Twitter handle. He says, would you create linear channels in the same genre of each video in your social stream? Would you create linear channels in the same genre in each video of your social stream? Can you interpret that question?
I mean, linear channels of each video?
He says, would you create linear channels in the same genre of each video in your social stream?
Okay, so if there's a surfing video on my social stream, would I then hit the surfing video and then watch all surfing video? We can do that. there's a
You
lot of
don't
stuff.
currently do that?
We don't currently.
Well, you're only new. You're only 2 weeks old, right? You launched 2 weeks ago?
We just launched our public beta 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks ago.
And is it literally Shelby.tv?
Shelby.tv.
Okay.
Or
Do you also own ShelbyTV.com or no?
I think so, yeah. Well, I mean, we bought all of them.
Okay.
I would like to have Shelby.com, but we'll get there.
What is Shelby.com?
Shelby.com is owned by an ad park. It's like Lyris, some older kind of internet real estate company.
So the opportunity's still there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that all the .lys and all that, I think they're building enough SEO juice that they can get around the .coms, and I think that the .com owners who are squatting on domains,
Well,
and
another.
also, I think TV speaks to what we are. It's exactly what we are. It's a video company. So
Another authentic ad that I need to do is for a company called Fenwick West. Fenwick West is a law firm that works with startups, but it also works with big companies. But they've done something interesting that we've not talked about before. They created a product called Flex. And you can get there by going to www.flex.fenwick, FENWICK.com.
you're not asking me to flex, are you?
What's that?
You're not asking me to flex because of the athlete thing.
I'm not going to ask you to flex. I don't want to embarrass you.
Exactly.
I'm going to bring it if
no,
you know.
I don't have Joe, my co-founder Joe, ask him to flex. He's jacked.
Okay, so Flex is a service where they bring in people who want to get legal advice online but don't want to pay for strategic, which I guess is code word for more expensive, legal services. So you can go to flex.fenwick.com and you can get more like day-to-day level work done from people who will give you that experience online. I think it's awesome. Great. It's great to see a law firm try to find ways to service clients using technology to bring the cost down. I always say the internet is this great deflationary environment that drives costs down.
Right.
It drives both costs of production and distribution, but also prices down.
Right.
And so being able to address that at a law firm, pretty smart idea.
Yeah, that's sweet. I mean, I know when especially if you're a young entrepreneur, you're kind of going, oh man, I'm gonna have to pay a lawyer, and you're worried about the bill size and what it's gonna cost you. And if you can go in and say, oh wow, it's a cheap cost to get this, then why not?
Yes. So
that being said, when it comes to the strategic thing, when you need the guy who's gonna be in your boardroom or whatever, don't over-optimize on price. Get the guy who you have a good relationship with. That would be my one entrepreneurial piece of advice.
I would agree. So let's talk a little bit more about monetization. I know, it sounds like one potential stream for you is like referral fees or lead gen, right? Mm-hmm. Like you're not pro advertising. Like, is it a big enough business just to be, referring people?
I think we're playing in a huge space. I think that, the
I know, but that's 100,000 feet. Now, how are you going to make money?
Yeah, sure. But I honestly think that if we continue to build an engaging product, that we'll get there. I know that you like to hate on that, but, you're looking.
It's not that I like to hate on that. Like, let's at least explore the realm of what are the possibilities of monetization.
Sure. I mean, I really, like I said, it's such a huge space, and video is such a core behavior that we're going to change the way people watch video, change the way they find stuff. If you do that, you provide a ton of value to a user. And with that will come different ways to do it. It can be a lead gen thing. I think we're going to see, cable really get disrupted. We're going to see TV really get disrupted. YouTube is changing the game. Yeah. I've had meetings with the HBOs and the other, content creators out there. Like, they're looking at ways that they can change the way they do things. And so, if we can help them do that, if we can help users find their content. Like, I'm currently not an HBO subscriber. I'm currently not any TV subscriber. I'm a cord cutter. I have been for 3-4 years, right? I literally eat my own dog food. Shelby's great for me. It's a product I wanted. So if Shelby understands what I like to watch and then says, hey, here's the pilot episode of How to Make It in America, will I pay to then buy that via Shelby? Hell yeah. Wow, this is cool, great. I like watching this, cool, great. Or my friends are all watching this, here, watch that, buy it, a la carte. I think we could go that way.
And you are ultimately going to try to get people to watch Shelby also on the big screen, right?
Definitely.
How are you going to go about doing that?
I think that there's a couple ways to get back to the screen. One, you've got devices like Boxy and Google TV, which have a browser, so we're there. But I think the better way is to get distribution as an app. We can, have apps on, a Samsung TV. There's all the gaming consoles out there, which I think are often appreciated. Xbox is a tremendous platform. PlayStation 3 is a tremendous platform. I think even Wii is probably going to go that way and eventually try and get content on there. So I think there's a number of channels to get to that screen, and I'm pretty excited about it. And I'm really excited about what Apple's going to do. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm pretty bullish on them putting out a screen next year, and it's going to be good. What do you think? What do you think about Apple? Am I allowed to ask questions of you?
You are.
Okay.
You are. I just figure I talk enough that no one wants to ask questions of me. But look, I think a couple of things. Number one, Apple has, if I look at the argument that says HP should get out of the hardware business, which I know has been made by the board of HP, which right. I think is really one of the most bankrupt boards in the tech industry. And then I look at what Apple's done. I think what a crazy concept, because having wonderful hardware that people want to consume media through is a huge differentiator for Apple. What is it that makes that such a wonderful device? It's part hardware, part software.
Right.
What is it that makes us love our Macs? I have a Mac Air. Right. In my family, we have 2 Mac Airs, a MacBook Pro, 2 iPads, 2 iPhones, right? Like an iPod Touch. Yeah. We love their products. I also have Apple TV, which I don't love.
Right.
But everything else I love. And when they put up a screen that's going to allow me to consume internet-based content in a new, meaningful, different way, that's just awesome. Because right now, the experience isn't so awesome. I've got to go to iTunes. I've got to wait for this freaking movie to download. It takes forever.
You mean the Apple TV experience?
Apple TV experience.
Yeah, it's not great.
But I have to download it on iTunes. They're not doing real-time streaming like Netflix is.
Right.
And then I've got to have my computer open so that I can send it through AirPlay to my TV. I mean, it's a pain.
Yeah.
Even for a guy who's moderately technical, it's a pain.
Moderately.
I use my qualifiers. I believe that once they have that screen in the house, I think there's going to be a whole group of people who just have to have it because they're going to find something about the way we interact. So one of the things they're quite bad at, Apple TV, is the UI of finding your way around to find new films. You scroll around and it's really clunky. A lot of people are guessing that maybe they're going to use Siri as a way to control your TV. That would be pretty cool.
That'd be awesome.
But they're going to do something that's going to make it easier to get internet videos on your TV. So what I've been saying is YouTube has the entire market to themselves. Everyone else is asleep. And when you think about YouTube TV, when people talk about TV, they talk about head end, meaning if the y-axis, the stuff that's viewed a lot by a lot of people,
right.
but there's very few of those.
Right.
They talk about long tail, which is the x-axis, which is the millions and millions and millions of videos that are only watched a certain number of time. And I've been talking about torso TV, which is the things that are viewed by a lot of people, but they're niche enough content that they're not being viewed by everybody.
Right.
And there's tons of that great, meaningful content, like TED Talks, right? And YouTube just has that market sewn up to themselves. And everyone has this idea that YouTube is dogs on skateboards. That's the long tail, and it's not.
Right.
And YouTube has professional content by people like Maker Studios and Machinima,
Sure.
Big Frame, Full Screen, Style Hall, and they're starting to get different genre. You have the fashion channel, which is Style Hall. They do a lot of makeup and how-to and instructions. You have people now creating Hispanic channels, sports channels. I mean, they're all being created, right? And it's professionally produced content. It's different than Mad Men, where you're spending millions of dollars an episode, but it's professionally produced. And no one else is playing in that. I think Amazon's going to play in that. I think Amazon is going to be a serious, just like Jeff Bezos is I think he's as smart as Steve Jobs. He's the best guy thinker on the internet. Think about this, okay?
Right.
Here's a guy who started off selling books. The guy who started selling books is now the leading provider of cloud infrastructure on the internet.
Right.
Not Google, not Microsoft, not HP, not Sun.
Right.
How the F did that happen? The book guy.
Right. I mean,
and I think he's going to
got the vision for it. I mean, he's
and
more
the
than
Kindle
just
Fire.
Yeah. I mean, the Kindle's an amazing device, right? I mean, it's phenomenal. So as you bring out the Fire, you start to bring more content. I mean, I thought they might try to buy Hulu at some point, right? Like we played war games.
Jason Kyler is ex-Amazon. He was a senior exec at Amazon.
Right.
So what? I'll tell you why I think they didn't buy Hulu in a second. But what interests me about Kindle Fire, which a lot of people don't know, so we can do a little education on this show.
Okay.
They have written their own browser.
Right.
And the browser now is going to be split between the actual device itself and the web hosting environment, AWS.
Right.
And what they're going to be able to do is an order of magnitude faster loading of pages. That's what they're committing to.
Right.
A more order of magnitude faster loading of pages, because your average mobile experience, just like your average web experience, has to go out to hundreds of different websites to aggregate little components of what they're serving up to you.
Sure.
And what Amazon's doing is storing all of that stuff in AWS and serving it up to you so it doesn't have to go out to 100 sites.
Right.
And that's particularly important on mobile where you have lower bandwidth and availability. So where I think they're going to try to compete against iPad, number one, price.
Yep.
Order of magnitude cheaper.
Totally.
And number two, lightning fast loading of pages that I think are going to top even what iPad does.
Instant on is you gotta be fast. Speed kills.
You have to have something that is totally different and unique. So let's talk about one other thing, which is Hulu, and why Hulu isn't being sold. I was on a panel today streaming Media West, and for the very first time I have said I think Hulu can be successful. It just dawned on me, and here's why. Hulu was set up to fail because it was the studio system giving video so that no VC would fund competitors. It was a defensive move.
Sure.
No one knew that they were sitting on probably one of the most talented guys of the younger generation, Jason Kyler, and just built an amazing product that people loved. And then, of course, the studios then tied his arms behind his back and don't let him innovate as much as he could. And if he relies upon license deals from content owners, he can't build a real business, right? So what they start by doing is saying, here's all the library, show users anything they want. And then they say, oh, we can't do that. We have to pull the library back and we only can show 5 videos because we don't want to screw up our windows of making money off our videos elsewhere.
Right.
Or they'll say things like, you can show video, but advertisers can't buy a show. Advertisers have to buy run of site.
Right.
Why? Because I want to go on Modern Family and still be able to sell my ads for $2 million a spot or whatever they charge for it, right? And I don't want to undermine that. But what Hulu did with Hulu Plus is they started selling subscriptions to higher value content.
Right.
So I asked for public data, and I hope it was public because I asked if it was public.
Okay.
I asked Hulu, and they said they have 1 million subscribers now of Hulu Plus.
Right.
Here's what that means, Reece. $100 million now of revenue coming into Hulu that they don't have to share necessarily with the content guys. 100, not in the same way they do ads, but also 100 million of non-advertising revenue.
Yep.
As they grow that number, and by the way, several hundred million of advertising revenue, but that they have to share a lot more with the back end, that enables them to do what I think they need to do, which is more original programming. Now, if I were Hulu, I wouldn't produce my own content. I would take that money and go acquire Torso TV, which is what people want to watch, and create a meaningful competitor to YouTube for distribution of lower cost content, but that people want to watch.
Sure.
And so I think Hulu now, with Hulu Plus and the numbers that they're hitting, really can build a meaningful business.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's you see Google just did it, right? Google just put a ton of money towards that torso content. So
here's my YouTube thing. So I think the Google guys are always one step ahead of everyone. Here's what I think. Google TV wanted to get a bunch of video deals done so you could go to Google TV and watch the good stuff.
Yeah.
All the content guys, they want nothing to do with Google because Google's the guys who indexed all the web content and gave it away for free and didn't share revenue. So they don't trust Google. And they also don't
do
trust
no evil, right? I mean.
they also don't trust Apple.
Right.
So you're in this world where they saw Apple drive down all the industry margins of music,
right,
and homogenize everything around 99 cent and $1.29 pricing.
Sure.
They don't want that to happen to video. So they don't trust Apple, they don't trust Google, they don't want to give the good stuff away. And so if I'm Google, what do? You go give, it was announced $100 million, I think it was $250 million. I've added up numbers much bigger than no one's reported it, so I'm breaking this story here. I think about $250 million that they've given out. If you want the studios to come give you their content, what better way than to go fund a bunch of startup competitors, a scorched earth strategy that says, let's get everyone in LA producing great content. And the more that starts popping up, the more the studios want to work with us. Yeah. And one more thing, and you shouldn't have asked me a question, because then you're you're gonna lose all your time.
That's all right.
Here's the amazing
You've been blogging
thing
about this and posting presentations about it, so I wanted to hear it live.
Here's some
because you actually use data that I've used in presentations, and I was like, all right, we're looking at the same reports, so I want to hear it live.
Here's the thing no one's talking about. I'll break this story too. YouTube, in their agreements with people, they gave out all this money, $250 million that everyone's calling 100, but it's 250. And they have exclusivity agreements, so call it 18 months exclusivity.
Right.
And what it says is you produce this video, but it's got to be in a YouTube viewer.
Right.
So even if you put it on your own website or you share it around the web, it's in a YouTube viewer, which means they get the ad inventory, they get the pre-roll and the translucent overlay.
Yep.
What they have done is locked up all the talent, the digital media short form talent in Los Angeles, which is where all this talent is, for the next 18 months. Where's Yahoo? Where's Facebook? Where's Amazon?
That was my question, is you haven't mentioned Facebook once.
Facebook.
I don't think they'll do it. I don't think they'll jump in.
Facebook is a really smart company, and I think they are eventually going to get in. Look, what do people, here's the stats, and you know the stats. 5.3 hours of television watch per day, 3.1 hours online. Of 12 to 17-year-olds, 33% of their time now on the internet is spent watching TV. So that bodes well for Shelby. So people want to watch video, and you're an athlete and you want to tell people not to eat McDonald's. People eat McDonald's, okay? So I think it's great to encourage people to, use dental floss and do things, but also people are going to be people, right?
Right.
And,
sorry to lose you, but okay.
Well, no, so dental floss, my example of dental floss is always, of course, I always tell my kids, you don't have to floss all your teeth.
Just floss the teeth you want to keep.
You only have to floss the teeth you want to keep. And so I have these little jokes to remind them to do it every day, but most people don't floss, right? So most people have bad teeth.
Right.
And we want them to floss, but people, but they don't. They don't go to the gym, they eat McDonald's or whatever.
Right.
Human beings are human beings. We can encourage good behavior, but the future of the internet is video. You're not going to change behavior. I'm not going to get them to read Hemingway online. They're going to want to watch video. It's
core behavior.
And so you've got to embrace that and enable that. And you can't be China. Steve Jobs was China. Steve Jobs, China's mostly benevolent, but they get to decide whether you can use Twitter or not.
Right.
Steve Jobs, mostly benevolent. He brought really a lot of good, but then he can say, but I don't want women in bikinis.
Right.
I don't think society needs that.
Right.
I don't want political cartoonists.
Right.
I don't think society needs that. And because
Are you allowed to be a censor if you're a platform?
The man who's so great at everything himself became China. And he's passed away a while ago, so I can reintroduce that concept without getting too hated. But that's exactly what happened, which is why I think Open needs to win, and we need to encourage that. So Shelby shouldn't be in the business of telling people what content they should be watching. You should be enabling people to get served up the content that they want to consume, either because of the person they are or because of the community that they are connected to.
Exactly, which is why some people will come to me and say, when I get into Shelby, I'm seeing all this great stuff because now I can talk about it with my friends, and their experience of Shelby is very different than mine. I follow very different people than most, so it's all about being relevant.
Mike,
if it's not, then
I'm going to struggle with this name, so I apologize, Mike. Mike Pamalai, P-M-A-L-A-I. Mike at Mike P-M-A-L-I says, how is Shelby 10 times better than what's currently available? What gets people to switch from Twitter or Facebook and YouTube to wanting to watch on Shelby? And I think that's an important question. Sure. And here's why. In products, to really become an addictive product, I think you have to do something really special and different. What's that going to be for Shelby?
Yeah, so I think it comes down to a few things. I think, like I said before, the user experience. Like watching video in Twitter is not a good experience. You click on it, you click on a video, you get the sidebar to pull out, you watch one video, you kind of, okay, cool. When you want to watch video, it's a lean back experience, right? You need to give me that seamless experience and make it very easy for me to consume lots of content, not hunting and pecking,
So one of the big differentiators in your mind for Shelby is, as you understand me better, tell me if I'm wrong, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but as you understand me and my network better, the key for you, almost like the underlying brand, is we want to bring lean back experience to short form video, which is I tune in, you know me, entertain me for the next half hour, but entertain me with what I want. So if I would like news, or I click on a news item, entertain me for a half hour until I tell you, Shelby, oh, lady who helps me, that I now want to watch fashion stuff.
A line that my co-founder Dan has said before is the ideal user experience for Shelby on an iPad is you open the app, you open it up, you watch for a half hour, an hour, and then you close the app. Yeah. And that's it. You shouldn't do anything else, right? You should open it up, it should know you and play that video, and we believe in that.
I think your underlying messaging and your branding, and when you get up and talk about Shelby, if that's what you believe is going to differentiate you, I don't know if it will or won't, but I think you need to be stronger about that message. Like I heard you speak last night, I don't think that came across. And I think you could be harder about, or you could be tighter defined. I'm not criticizing your presentation, I'm just saying, but if that's what your big differentiator is, be tighter about how you say that.
Yeah, I kept it pretty casual yesterday, as it was kind of wasn't too formal of a setting. I wasn't, geared up for it. But
here's the thing, Reece.
Always be pitching.
Positive critique.
Yeah.
Okay. You had a room full of some of the most influential people in TV in LA.
Sure.
And this is your chance to plant a seed in their mind about what Shelby TV stands for. And if this is what you stand for, and I don't want to say it, what I would have said is, if you think about people watching television for the 5.3 hours a day that we know they do, they typically are doing that because they're looking for a lean back experience. They turn on their show and they veg out a bit.
Right.
The internet is a lean forward experience. So when people are watching YouTube, when people are on Twitter, they're active, they're engaged, they're clicking on things, and that's okay for that behavior. But I believe the underlying behavior of people who consume video is they want more of a lean back experience. So how do I go from a 22-minute format on TV to an average 4.5 minute on internet and still give me that lean back experience? It's hard to do. And that's what Shelby enables. And the way Shelby enables you to do that is by understanding you better, understanding your social stream better, understanding what your preferences are. And those algorithms will allow us to come into Shelby, turn it on, and a half hour later, or whenever I'm done watching TV, I've just been entertained, maybe with 5 videos, maybe with 15 videos of the stuff I really wanted to watch, and it goes out and almost intelligently, like remember the days of Ask Jeeves, where the idea was you have this butler who's going to go find the good stuff for you. We find the good stuff and we bring it back to you.
So a few things there. One, our user numbers are already showing that, so our time on site is around that half-hour session and
Yeah.
more for a lot of users. So we're already getting that
That's
sort of lean back.
compelling.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Imagine if you had ads. Sorry, I'm kidding.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
But so we're already seeing those numbers,
Yeah.
right? In terms of yesterday's pitch, it was pretty gratifying when a lot of people came up to me afterward and said, "Whoa, I get what you guys are doing, and I think you have the right DNA to do this and be successful at it," right?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people got it, whether I was jamming it down their throats and kind of banging it in their heads or not. I think that's one of our core differentiators. And I think you're absolutely right. It's about building that experience. It's a great user experience. I think some people say you can't differentiate on that, and I think we can. I think we already have. And I think a lot of people, I think when you build a technology product, there are a lot of users who don't realize the magic behind it. To them, or they just think it's magical. They don't realize what's gone into the user experience. They don't realize what's gone into the tech. For us, when we released our app to have users tweet out, "Shelby is magical. The iPhone app is magical." That was huge. Mm-hmm. I mean, that was huge. My heart was going nuts, and that's what we've done. So, and that's just the start. We're not even as smart as we want to be yet. So I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg, and I think we're going to see us continue to get smarter where that experience is. You sit and lean back. And I think that that social element is the big, big thing. If you go back to the early days of TV, hang on before you get on a train again.
Yeah.
If you go back to the early days of TV, what was it? You had 1, 2, 3 channels, right?
Yeah.
And who brought you the content that you saw? You had maybe the anchor, right? The news anchor. It was kind of, you had a couple people who curated content and said, here's what you watch. And then TV went like this, huge. There's tons of stuff. And the web is making that even worse. So then how do you filter that back down? You do it through people, because you can only keep so many people in your head. And let's use those people as a way to filter it back. And that's what Shelby's
When I
doing.
hear you speak today, I hear a very tight definition of why you believe you'll win, told in human terms with specificity at a level I didn't hear last night. And again, I'm not criticizing last night. You did fine, but I didn't walk away with the sense of where we're going to win is creating this lean back experience, which is what people want in video.
Right.
And why it's hard to create on the internet. And I think if that's your magic, you define, maybe I'm wrong, but if that's your magic, which I'm kind of hearing, and helping me with the fragmentation problem, I think you could make a tighter set of messages when you talk about what you do and why it's going to win.
Well, I think at the end of the day, figuring out your message is always the hardest thing to do, whether it's in your pitch as an entrepreneur or it's in your product, right? A lot of times tech products don't fail because of their technology. They fail because they fail to message the user and explain what they do.
And the press, by the way, because you need the press.
Absolutely.
Like, you've got to be able to dumb this down for the press, because the press just isn't going to get it. You can't say, we're social TV, and
social TV platform,
we're
buzzword,
social
buzzword,
TV
buzzword.
platform where you share Twitter links and you see what your friends are tweeting, and therefore you watch a TV and they're like, yeah.
So go back to what you asked me what Shelby was in the beginning. What did I say?
You tell me.
Shelby is the most amazing way to discover and enjoy web video. What? Bold claim. That's a bold claim, and it's perfect. People go, whoa.
That's head in the clouds. Like, because no one's going to believe that. Or, by the way, you can say that.
Right.
You can say that.
And then you back it up with how you do that.
Now, what's my next line? Because your next line has to have substance.
My next line, I go to
my
use case.
problem with that statement, if you say
now
nothing else.
we're back to pitch practice again.
Yeah, we are. If you make that high-level statement with nothing to back it up, I mean, look, every journalist is going to be as cynical of every VC. Because we hear people come in every day and they go, I'm going to revolutionize the industry of brushing your teeth, and I've got the best toothbrush you've ever seen. And I'm like, really?
You keep talking about teeth. Is this because you grew up in England? You know, it's like the bad
I actually didn't grow up in England.
You spent a lot of time there,
I moved
right?
to England in my 20s.
There you go.
And I got British citizenship. No, I'm just trying to choose something that's non-technical. Look, we've heard all the hyperbole before. That doesn't matter. Like, saying what you do and why it stands out matters.
I think we do that, and I think people get it. I mean, the number of business cards I collected last night from people who were excited about what we were doing was awesome. So at the end of the day,
I'm excited about what you're doing. I'm sure everyone was excited about what you're doing, but you have got to stand out when you talk to journalists or other people or even consumers to say why ultimately I believe you're going to win. Because there's going to be a lot of people gunning for this category.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you know, I think we've done a good job. You know, we haven't hired any PR yet. It's all us. You know, I'm trying to stay lean. You know, right now we don't need to go out and go crazy, and so all my messaging I'm doing ourselves, and You know, when we got our press hits on Mashable, the Next Web, GigaOM, TechCrunch, all those places, they told our story and users went and downloaded the app. So we're there. I'm not perfect yet. I'm taking your criticism. I'm hearing it. I'm not saying.
Drink the Kool-Aid if you want. I'm telling you, everyone will write the first article.
Sure.
You're a very likable guy. You're in a very interesting category. Everyone will write the "Hey Reece, attaboy" articles, okay? If you want to be persisting in 2 years and 3 years and 4 years, and if you want your numbers to move up and you want the follow-on stories to come,
right.
You need people. See, the thing is, I think really to capture the imagination of the press, which is going to be important to becoming a consumer brand, you need people to associate you with having blazed new ground. The magic of Foursquare, they have the clever brand and they have a playful, whimsical brand association, and Dennis is a great stuntsman and does all these things, right? But they define the category of check-ins.
Right.
That was Foursquare and badges. And I think they know that that was ephemeral. It was a period of time that it was unique, and they knew they were going to take you somewhere else.
Sure.
But they blazed new ground, which is why everyone was talking about them.
Right. I mean, I agree. I think what we're seeing right now in our space is that everyone's going social video. It's this big category.
Yeah.
And what does that really mean, right?
Yeah.
We're social video.
Yeah.
Chill is social video. Very different experiences,
Yeah.
right? Very, very different. They are synchronous. We're asynchronous, right? There's other iOS experiences out there. There's the Show Use, the Pliesies, all those guys, right? Like, I think that we all have a different vision. We're going to start to see essentially, verticals created within social video and what that means. And I think that we're in the lead. Everyone's saying that this is a hot space, and there's, Roger Ehrenberg said, there's 1 million video companies who have gone splat. And you said, I see 100 of these in LA a day.
I see them all the time.
It's great, but where are they? I don't care. It doesn't matter. I think that we're leading the space. I think that when people see our product, they go, this thing is beautiful. I love it. And that's what they want. They don't want to think about the tech. They don't want to worry about all that stuff in the background. They say, wow, this thing is awesome. It's beautiful. That's how I want to watch video. So.
Okay, we're just going to have to agree to disagree that every time you say that, you don't back it up with why. And I believe you can't say, I have a beautiful product and people love it. Like that's. I thought we talked about it. I don't know. Maybe
you're tired. Maybe the event went too late last night. I'm just joking with you. But it's about brand, right? So it's about creating a voice and a dialogue with your user. Again, I said that earlier, right? I think that It's earlier. About a brand and creating a dialogue with your user. So Shelby as a brand creates a dialogue with their users so that people love Shelby. That doesn't mean anything, Reece. What the fuck does that mean? Tell me, what does it mean? We're a brand and we create a dialogue with our user. Shelby is a brand. It's not just some product, right? So some of our competitors, I'm signed up for some of our competitors, and you get their email that says, here's the video you should watch. Yeah. Great. Fuck that email, right? When you get it from Shelby, Shelby has voice, and it knows you. And behind that, the actual product brings you the relevant video. Why is it relevant? 2 reasons. 1, social. We bring it in from the people who are around you, and that's really important. I don't think anyone else is doing that as well as we are. And 2, we will get smart and recommend the right content to you. So you say, wow, this is the video I want to see. And you drive that social capital of, oh, we both watched that same video, we can talk about it together. We both watched This Week in VC. We both watched XYZ video. When you have that social capital, it's so important. That's what people want to do. They want to build a community. They want to talk about it and say, hey, look at my video. Look at the video that I've collected and shared here. So it's more than just just a lean back experience. It's giving something back to the user. Okay. So there's 2 components to Shelby. One is you do a better job than other people in creating the lean back experience for short form content, which is harder to do than traditional TV, number 1. And number 2, if they want a lean forward experience, you give them the tools that they need to talk amongst their friends or to understand what their friends are also consuming. So I can get the lean back Shelby experience, but I also have this lean forward experience, which is unique and different and fun around sharing with my friends and in Shelby TV. Yeah, I think it's important to allow that, but not be too lean forward, right? There's this real fine balance that you have to always kind of maintain. You can't, we want to be lean back, and I said I'd love to have users get in there, watch the video, and never have to worry about it, but there are power users who are going to want to create. you've said before the 1-9-90 rule, right? Or Fred Wilson has like the 10-10-30 rule, 10-10-30-50, whatever it is, right? You have to think about your users like that. There are going to be a bunch of people who just show up to your site and consume. Twitter has a lot of people who just that's all it is for them. They go and read.
The overwhelming majority of people.
Exactly. But then there are guys like you and me who are tweeting a lot and creating a following. And I think that you need to give that back to your users. And that's something that we're going to continue to build.
The interesting thing, Reece, and this is where I think we'll leave it. When I hear you get past the hyperbole and talk about what you want to do, it has so much substance. Like, I feel like, okay, I understand better what you want to achieve.
Right.
And I see some cleverness in that, and that's great, and not that I doubted there would be.
Right.
The hyperbole level doesn't resonate quite as much with me.
Right.
And what I would do, if I were you and I'm one voice, I'm one data point, I would take the thoughts that you have a layer down and say, how do I pick out the most compelling messages, a layer down, which do resonate with me, a tough audience, and pull those into my headline messages as opposed to your hyperbole. Because I believe that your lead-in, we're beautiful TV, or we're a brand that has a voice, or whatever, doesn't mean anything. I believe that your underlying message is me, and you just don't have to listen at all. Your two biggest and most important things that I interpret from what you're saying, number one is this lean back experience, which is really important, and which I never really thought of this, but it is hard to do that on the internet, and that's something you could own as a message and also as a product. And number two, and you'll probably need to build this out a little bit more, is tools within Shelby when you want to do more leaning forward and sharing and chatting and looking at maybe ratings. Maybe you could add tools like rating and whatever, or I want to do sharing from Shelby, and we do a better job at creating that environment for our users. And so I think if those are your two big differentiators today, and they may not be, but if they are, then I would have those be my headline message, so that if you just have 5 sentences with someone who's super busy and super senior like Michael Eisner to say, why do you need to care about Shelby TV? He'll walk away with understanding what you do. Because if you say, we're a beautiful product that helps people enjoy the way they watch TV, he walks away saying, that was a nice kid, but what the fuck does he do? For what it's worth. Sorry.
Fair. I think part of our pitch is we always want to make sure that people can understand it. I think that a lot of pitches too often get into the details and you start talking about features.
I agree.
You know what I mean? So what I love is when I do give my pitch to my mom or to a cousin or someone who's not tech, they go, oh, I get that.
Okay.
At the end of the day, you got to be able to get to that mainstream, right? I can build the coolest, edgiest, techiest product ever, but if it doesn't speak to, if my dad can't use it, it doesn't matter.
But that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying you need to take what your product differentiation is going to be. You need to pull out some messages from that, whatever it is, put it into your headline about your positioning of your company in human terms. And I actually do think it's human terms to sit to someone and say, and I'm belaboring this point, but to say, when you watch TV, you just want to veg on your couch. And people do it for hours a day. In fact, Americans do it for 5 hours a day. When you consume on YouTube, usually those videos are under 5 minutes. The average YouTube video is under 5 minutes. And therefore, people aren't able to relax. People call that leaning forward. They're not able to relax, they're clicking around. And what we've done is built this beautiful tool to stitch together a lot of the interesting videos you want to find and allow you to lean back and watch this really great content that's on the internet that you just don't know about, and just let you watch. That's me.
Bravo.
So, all right. Well, that's how I would do it, but I'm not always right. Anyway, it's been great at least having the debate. I've enjoyed learning more about what you guys are actually doing. I'm more excited about what you guys are doing, which is great. You've won over at least one follower, pain in the ass follower. But I'm also excited about what HomeField is doing, and I'm rooting for Joe Yavoli. Did I pronounce that right?
You got it.
To prove to you that that's what was going to be a big business, and he's going to make, I hope, a lot of money out of doing that.
I will too.
As will you. As will you. I would like to thank Mozy, which Reece is actually a customer of. I'd like to thank Fenwick and West, try out their new Flex product. But I'd like to thank Reece for coming in and spending the time with us.
Thanks for having me. It's awesome.
There is no stopping an idea whose time has come. But the best entrepreneurs don't stand still with an idea. They get to the business of getting things done. So step forward with your idea, and when you're ready, sit down and tell me how you want to change the world. This week in Venture Capital.